Hi guys, you're in the right place if you want to learn how to paint cookies with food gel. And today we're going to be doing some tulips. This cutter is this plaque and it measures about 4 1/8 by almost 2 1/2. So today I'm going to be using a round 5. This is also a round small one. It says 111 on it. Oh, I guess it's a 0, and just a little detail brush, spotter brush. So I want to have this close by because we're going to be able to, maybe follow that if I leave it there. So I'm using the Wilton White mixed in with the food gels to sort of give this different texture to the paint, which allows me to sort of layer and do some interesting shading. So with my round 5, what I do is the brushes. Oh, okay. So I've got my palette with some food gels in it, a clean rag, clean water, and I don't know, other things on my desk that are that important. So I'm starting by getting my round 5 damp, and I'm just getting it covered with the purple and the purple food gel and a bit of the Wilton White to make a very pale sort of shade. And I'm going to just paint on a couple. Let's do some purple tulips. I'm going to leave my feet flat on the ground, on the floor. Once again, there's lots of reflection, which makes it a little bit hard for me to see, but that's okay. Now, there's a whole bunch of different varieties of tulips, so you don't need to get too concerned about what you do and how it goes and all that kind of stuff. I think the main thing to remember is tulips tend to be flat or just have some bumps along the bottom. So if you can manage to do that with your painting, I think that's probably going to be pretty good. So this is just the Wilton White mixed with the purple food gel. And you could do tulips that are maybe like a little bit more open. Though the thing is they basically all bloom at about the same time, right? Add some petals that you'll be seeing at the back. Now that's it for the purple. So I'm going to rinse off my brush, double rinse, and switch over to the orange, and it's the same thing. It's the Wilton White mixed in with a little bit of the orange gel to make this creamy pale shade. Try to keep it a little bit flat at the bottom. Should we do just And then rinse, double rinse, get all the orange off. And then pick up some pink, if I can remember where it is. Just a little bit of pale, do the pale stuff first. Maybe that's good enough. Okay. So these are still damp. So what you can do is switch over to doing the stems while these dry, and I'm going to be using this 0 and just using a little bit of water to dampen my brush. I don't have any vodka out today, and I'm just picking up straight food gel. So the brush is damp, and I've picked up, this is probably juniper green. Juniper green and moss green are pretty similar. So with the tulip stems, they're fairly heavy, fairly thick, and straight. They tend to be dark. So we'll just have some nice straight food gel. I'm trying to make these come pretty much straight down. Oh, my brush is a little bit dry there, so I'm just getting it a little bit damp again. Going back to get more gel. Okay, so we're done with this brush. So I'm just going to clean it off, double clean. Put that one away. Now, these are almost dry, but not quite. I think it looks like the pink one has dried first. So I'm just going to use this this kind of like spotter brush. I'm just going to get it damp, and what I want to do is just pick up straight food gel, just get a little bit of gel. I'm loosening it up with the dampness of the brush because we're going to be adding our details now. We'll start with the pink. So I just want to carefully outline the petals. And just add the shading. Around the bottom of the flower. Just wherever there'd be any sort of like dense bends in the petals that would sort of capture the shade. Capture shade. Is that something that happens. I'm not sure. Now I'm just cleaning off my brush, taking off most of the water, and the bristles are just damp, so I'm just going to carefully use the damp bristles. It's still a little bit too wet, and just blend this out a little bit. Just to sort of get some of the shading on the petals. Now, the peach, or the orange, I mean. I think the orange is sort of, both the purple and the orange are still damp, but this one looks a little bit dry. So my brush is damp, cleaned, and I'm just gonna pick up, oh, a little bit too dry. I just moistened the end of the bristles, and then I'm dipping it into the straight food gel just to pick some color up on the tip of the brush. Let's see how this behaves. You can very carefully just and add our shading at the bottom of the bulb. Let's see if we can do this one at the same time. As long as the edge of the bulb is kind of dry, we should be okay for getting our lines on. Okay, so I'm just rinsing the gel off the brush, getting it nice and clean, drying it off mostly, so it's just a little bit damp, and then just using the bristles to finish the shading. And if your brush gets too like muddied, like it is now, I just want to clean it off again and just get it damp, and then go back to doing the blending, just to give some ribs shading and contour. And I'm working upside down because it's easier to pull the gel and the color toward you. And to draw it down. Okay, cleaning it off, and then we'll do the purple. So once again, just getting the bristles damp at the end and running them through the purple food gel. This one seems to be a little bit drier than the other one. And just the shading at the bottom. gel. So now it's the, when you're working with a small brush, the smaller number of bristles doesn't hold a lot of color, and the brush will dry out faster. That's okay, it just makes you work very carefully. Just get a little bit more purple gel. And then we'll do the outlines on this last one as well before we clean off the brush and do any blending. So, yeah, and just thinking about any tulips that you want to paint, it doesn't have to be, you know, this type of tulip that you see. There's a whole bunch of different varieties that have like the petals kind of open up more in a V and stuff. But I do think most tulips will have kind of the flattish base. Now I'm just cleaning off my brush, getting it all nice and clean, getting all the gel off it, and rinsing it, and it's just a little bit damp, and I'm going to use the damper brush to, actually that's still a little bit too wet. I don't want to be removing too much of the color. I just want to use the bristles to drag through the gel and do some of the blending without removing too much of it, so that we still have contour and shading in our petals. Actually, that is too dry, so I'm just rinsing it again, getting it damp. So the process is all the same. You have your lighter shade that you put down first, and then use, dries fairly quickly, especially if you're doing a couple of these at a time. And then just go back and add some of your lines, details, shading, and then a damp brush to blend it all together. And go back and make corrections where it should be. See how these two petals are close together but not touching? It should be dark, because this is more the center inside the flower, right? Maybe a little bit darker. Some contour along the bottom. Same here, just a few minor corrections. In the seams in the petals. I just want to put a little bit more shading on the bottom of this bulb, and this one too. Should be nice and dark. Now, the last thing you can do, if you like, is add a tiny little bit of a highlight to the stems. I'll show you how to do that. So remember how we just used straight green food gel to pencil in our stems? So I'm just going to use a damp, the same brush, just damp, going back and picking up a tiny little bit of the green mixed with the Wilton White, and just putting a little strip down the center of the stem, but not underneath the flower, because it's going to be in shadow right underneath here. So just add a little bit of the Wilton, of the white and the green together, and then I'm cleaning off my brush, drying it off, and then just this will settle in the cookie too if you just leave it. But if you want to just sort of give it a little bit of encouragement for blending, then just run the brush along it as well. So there you have it, little tulips on this little plaque cutter. So thanks for watching, you guys. Spring is around the corner. Have a fabulous day, and I'll see you next time.